The Frog Prince. This book was issued by my kid's school. Lately they're trying to promote mental health, sex, and relationship building. We'll see how this book helps them. Looking at the cover, let's practice our emotional literacy, everyone. How would you describe the look of the princess? To me, she has a lot of contempt, one eye closed, dismissive in disgust, the other open with eyebrow raised, questioning, criticizing, and doubting the frog. Her arms are folded, her posture is stuck up. She's cynical and does not approve of the frog. A bit of a grumpy, nasty-looking princess, if you ask me. Please share what you think in the comments below. There are supposed to be two fundamental lessons here. A promise is a promise, so keep in your word, and don't judge a book by its cover. People are not books. We do not have pages or chapters. We are not written, and we are not put on shelves. I always judge a book by its cover, which goes for CDs and DVDs as well. Why do you think people get hired to make them? As for promises, we'll see they get broken at a drop of a hat. The story is aimed at girls. How do we know? For one, it's focused on the princess and how things work out for her. And secondly, it encourages her behavior. She is the example of how girls should be. A princess. What does this say to boys? That he should accept his treatment, for she is a princess, and if he happens to be a frog, he might get lucky and be turned into a prince, thanks to her. So he needs her, otherwise he's condemned to being a frog living at a pond. He has no self-respect or dignity unless the princess permits it. He is beneath her, for he is a frog. What a good way to start a relationship, eh? And so, long ago and far away, there lived a princess. On her birthday, the queen said, "I promise to give you any toy you want." We already run into a problem here. The queen is carelessly making wild promises. Princess doesn't really care because she's so used to getting what she wants and having her way. She is spoilt and will result in her being entitled with no appreciation for value. So despite the servants bringing her presents piled up, they mean nothing to her, and the queen thinks presents will make her happy. Because she can't give her daughter love or happiness, she substitutes it and makes it transactional. "I want a ball made of gold," said the princess. "There are no balls made of gold," said the queen. "But a promise is a promise," said the princess. She's holding her mother accountable and using guilt to force her mother. And look at her room, full of toys. The queen is showcasing the riches, pimping and promoting it with her hat and coat. The princess is bored and dissatisfied. This could be the face as she's contemplating manipulating her mother into a double bind, because she's going to make sure she has her way whilst envisioning with her gaze at a green ball that seems to have bounced onto the floor. So far we're looking at poor parenting. There is no emotional connection between them. Where is the king? So the queen had a ball of gold made for the princess. This man is hunched over, back broken, his eye popping out. He's stuck into his work. The princess is happy now as her wants and desires are being attended to. In turn she is getting attention, and I doubt she ever looked at her mother with such affection. To her this is soothing, and the queen has turned her back. She is distracted looking at a jewelry cabinet, fixated on whatever sparkly that's going to amuse her for the impulsive moment. It's like she's in a candy store. There is no love in this queen's heart. She is incapable. One day, the princess was playing with her ball, but the ball fell into the pond. Hasn't been taught to care for things. However, she's a kid, so we'll let her off for that. I have lost my ball made of gold," said the princess. She began to cry. A sign of her attachment. To her she has lost her happiness. A small frog hopped over to the princess. "I can get your ball back," the frog said. "Frogs can't talk," said the princess. "Well, I can," said Frog. What has the princess been smoking? "I will get your ball back," said Frog, but only if you make me a promise."
"I promise anything you like,"
said the princess.
"You can even have my crown."
"A frog has no need for a crown," said Frog. To a princess, a crown symbolizes prestige. She has attached great value to it, but to a frog it means nothing. Those with a princess mentality wouldn't really like hearing that. We're now seeing how promising can get you into trouble. It's a bit like careful what you ask for, but instead don't make promises you cannot keep. That's why in Fight Club he makes him promise 3 times to make sure he keeps his word. Frog needs to watch Fight Club.
"What do you want then?"
said the princess. "I want you to promise to be my friend," said Frog.
"Easy,"
said the princess.
"I will do that."
Making promises is easy to her, because she doesn't take them seriously. Frog doesn't care much for gold, but he recognizes it means something to the princess, so he's going to exchange this ball of gold for friendship. He puts himself in a position of having to provide and serve in order to be accepted. At the moment he may seem a little white knighty, but Frog has a bit of a backstory which we'll find out later. He wants something besides friendship. So in terms of forming relationships, again we have encountered an issue. They are both misleading each other. So Frog jumped into the pond. He got the ball back, just as he had promised. "Now we will be friends," he said. The princess grabbed the ball. She did not say thank you to the frog. Why would she? She's clearly someone without morals and ethics. She scampered off, cackling. The squirrel has found a nut and run up the tree. "Hey," said Frog, "what about your promise?" He's not very bright. But the princess just ran away. She's not interested in friendship. Frog should have known better. Is this the behavior we want to be teaching children? Later, as the princess ate her supper, she heard a sound. What's that?" said the queen.
"Nothing,"
said the princess. Princess has an idea who it is, and it's filling her with dread. She knows she's in trouble, and what she did earlier is not okay. But she didn't care because she got her ball back. Screw the frog. Boys.
"Open the door,"
said the queen.
"No, please don't,"
said the princess. She's panicking, because she's going to have to be accountable and has some explaining to do. The queen opened the door.
"Oh no,"
said the princess, clutching onto her ball, protecting it, as to her a threat has come and her happiness is at risk. Frog came into the room. "Good evening," he said. The queen is amused.
"What do you want, Frog?"
said the queen. Not surprised he can talk. Perhaps not the first frog she's met who can talk. "I want the princess to be my friend, just as she promised," said Frog. The princess is bending over, is a victim. Woe is me, sad, now vulnerable. The queen recognizes this behavior. What have you done? Queen was once a little girl herself, so has experience.
"I can't be friends with a cold, wet frog,"
said the princess, shaming the frog, name-calling, being nasty, criticizing and trying to get rid of the frog.
"A promise is a promise," said the queen.
There is no line of questioning from the queen, perhaps knowing it would be excuses. So at least the queen is being firm, and finally we have a chance at redemption. So Frog sat at the table and ate supper from a plate made of gold. The princess is now finding this amusing because the queen is uncomfortable and taken aback. The princess's stress has been transferred to her mother. Another indicator of the kind of personality the princess has.
"Now will you go back to the pond?"
said the princess. Now princess is being friendly, pleading with the frog to get rid of him, aka being two-faced. "A real friend would let me stay," said Frog. "A promise is a promise." Now Frog is being a bit cheeky here, mirroring the parental role of the queen, and using it to guilt the princess. He's trying to force her into a friendship. So the princess took Frog up to her bedroom.
You can sleep in this nice box,
said the princess. Out of sight, out of mind. A real friend would let me sleep on her pillow, said Frog. So the princess put Frog on her pillow, giving in to avoid further annoyance, not because she suddenly wants to be kind to the frog. She's probably building resentment towards him for imposing. As he sat on her pillow, magic happened. Frog grew and grew. He changed into a boy.
Who are you?
said the princess. Lucky for her, it's a boy her age, and not a troll. I am a prince, said the boy. A witch turned me into a frog. The only thing that could turn me back into a prince was somebody being a good friend to me. Why did the witch turn him into a frog? What happened to the witch? Why would a prince who's been turned into a talking frog hang around a pond? What if he weren't able to retrieve the gold ball? Would she have given him the time of day? So many things we'll just have to overlook.
But I was a bad friend,
said the princess.
I didn't like you at first.
She knew she was treating him badly. Instantly she now likes him because she discovered he's a prince. How quickly she's changed her attitude. So if you're a frog, there's no chance of her accepting you, but a prince, however, is a different story. You were a good friend, said the prince. You gave me food. You even let me sit on your pillow. Frog has disregarded the poor treatment and casted her in shining light. She can do no wrong, and he has given her permission to continue mistreating not only himself, but other people she meets. The prince and princess became real friends. They liked to play with their ball made of gold, but they never went near the pond. When they grew up, the prince and princess got married. Bish bash bob, here we are. They promised to love each other forever, and they did love each other forever and ever. After all, a promise is a promise. Will she stay happy or get bored of him? She managed to hang on to the golden ball. Look at the wedding photo. She doesn't really care about him. He's just another shiny object to her. Girls may look at frog boys and hope they turn out to be rich princes. She's not going to accept someone mediocre or even irregular because she has learned not to be content. Where is my promised prince? She will be irritated by him, and to her he will be a disappointment. If he hasn't got something she wants, he's out of luck. She isn't interested, and it's not him she's really after anyway. Many more problems unfold for her. This promotes competitiveness among her gender. If you're not a princess, you're disadvantaged, and you'll be lucky to even get a frog. We saw examples of backstabbing, untrustworthiness. We already know she breaks promises, but the frog kept his. Mother pimps envy and the desire to want more. Feelings of not enough, and easily leads to self-hate. Her value is through her possessions. The more she has, the worse she feels. Happiness is a never-ending pursuit. Even the message of a promise is a promise was replaced with opportunity, not merit of hard work. So girls, this is a terrible role model for you to emulate. And boys, stay away from these girls. That is a real lesson to be learned here. Some might say I'm being too critical of the story, but it's this blasé attitude which leads children to draw their own conclusion. You tell me, what are the kids supposed to think of this? What a load of ribbit.